Welcome to Defence Connect Spotlight, connecting you with the leading defence industry experts from Australia and abroad.
Well, g'day everyone, it's Liam Garman here, editor of Defence Connect, here with a very special episode of the Defence Connect Spotlight podcast. And if you're dialing in on our audio channels, make sure you jump onto YouTube to watch the video version, because I'm here in the studio playing a very special war game developed for our soldier sailors and aviators to help them better understand the kill chain. And to take me through this war game, I'm joined by James Moorhouse, Director of Wargaming at Atturra. James, mate, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, Liam. Appreciate it.
So what makes a Director of Wargaming? Talk to me about your history, how you found your way into this role.
Yeah, great question. I don't have your typical defense background at all. Once upon a time, I was a classical musician, trained playing around the world, and I said, okay, I think I've had enough of this. So went back to uni and did a postgraduate in mathematics. Worked for a variety of consulting firms across federal and local government in Canberra, and then found myself one day heading over to defence after an interview where I got to combine my extracurricular activities, mainly wargaming, with my consulting background, which was a really fantastic opportunity, which led us to wargaming, which is a very critical and important part of the defence landscape that is sometimes definitely flies under the radar or is a little unknown.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm sorry to warn you of this ahead of time, but I think after this podcast, you're probably going to have a few CVs floating to Atturra once our listeners know that there are jobs out there, Director of Wargaming. Now, we're here with Battle Chess. Now, we thought it'd be great for our listeners to get to know the ins and outs of some of the work that you're doing to develop and inspire wargaming for defense professionals, and in particular battle chess that we've got here today. Now, James, when I was doing my research on battle chess, and I was searching on I've got to play this game. Everyone's going to be watching it before Avalon. It's in person. I get super hyper competitive. Like I can't even do board games with my wife anymore. She refuses to do it because I get I don't like losing. So I was like, well, if I'm going to be filmed doing this, I need to know what battle chess is before we start off. And online, it's kind of you see it as it's kind of an animated version of chess, but that's not what this is. If people go out and Google it, is it?
No, that's right. So battle chess, you'll struggle to find anything about it online because it's a custom game that we've made. So wargaming at its core is about experimenting with the ideas of change in a safe to fail environment. And often some of the tools that we use to explore those ideas are board games or variations of board games, whether it's something straight off the shelf, like the Pentagon used in early 2000s when Obama put some money into wargaming across the US. They pulled a few information games off the shelf and then repurposed it. This is in a similar vein. So you can think
Cluedo
of
for the CIA, for example.
That's a great analogy.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you can think of them as sort of two different frames. This is more an educational tool, a little bit more abstract to experiment with those ideas. But then you also have more analytical tools that have very detailed representations of some of the platforms you might see across defence.
Absolutely. And I know I've had a fair few conversations with the team from Atturra. And I don't think the wargaming aspect, I don't think the upskilling of our soldier sailors and aviators have really come into the discussion. We've been, with my conversations with them, we've been focusing primarily on things like IT, on de-risking for defence enterprise-wide systems. I didn't, and I think a lot of our listeners probably wouldn't have realised that Atturra works closely with defence on developing these capabilities to upskill people in defence.
Yeah, it's not the most common of capabilities for a consulting firm or an IT house to have within what they do day to day. It's a pretty special capability that we have. So we have an ongoing contract with Defence to deliver joint experimentation with both APS, public servants, as well as the Defence Force, those in uniform. And so we've got a hybrid team embedded in there that have been delivering a program of analytical work for the last few years. That is also just one of the things that we offer, where we also build custom games for other government agencies to help explore what are some of their pressing problems. So whether that's a diplomatic or informational game or a military and economic style game, we often will take something from our repertoire of tools and customize it to deal with our clients' unique problems.
You've got these capabilities at your fingertips, and you're able to readily adapt and deploy them. Now, okay, so we've got the setup of the board, right? So, do you want to take us through really from the get go what the pieces mean, what they represent, and my understanding is a lot of this is agnostic, so it can be for land, air, maritime forces, because unlike say Risk or any of the other kind of board games that might be coming to mind, or even chess, right? Your pieces aren't necessarily wedded to mean something.
No, if you know chess, you basically need to erase it from your mind. The only similarity is that if you take out your opponent's king, or in this case their C2 command and control unit, you'll win the game. But the similarities are minimal, but it's purposefully abstract. So from the top, there are 6 core pieces in the game. You've got your king, which represents your command and control. Your queen, which represents some sort of long-range strike. It's up to your imagination. Your sustain, which is the rook. You could think of that as a logistic style unit. Maybe it's an APC. Maybe it's something else, depending on which part of the organization. Maybe it's even IT, depending on which part of the organization you work in. Offensive maneuver, that's the bishop. You might want to think of it as an F-35 or a fighter jet, or any other sort of quick in and out capability. Your defensive maneuver, maybe this is something a bit slower, provides a bit of resistance, or a mobile platform. Maybe it's an Abrams or a different type of tank. And finally, your recon. Could be a special forces unit, maybe it's a drone, maybe it's really up to you. But it's purposefully abstract because this game has been built as an educational game to really help different professionals understand the kill chain.
And one thing I appreciate, so literally just before we started recording this podcast, you and I did one single round, not even a game. We did one single round, and we understand that the pieces really are, and this is where it does differ from chess, where you actually have to forget what you've learned previously. The pieces, by proximity to one another, can add benefits, which makes total sense. So your combined arms capabilities are going to be working in concert. You're never going to send a specific core, perhaps, to do a job in isolation. So no better place to understand how this works than by doing a run through.
Sure.
And then I'm going to ask all the dumb questions.
Please.
So I'm going to ask some really dumb questions as we're going through this. And actually, I'm going to invite people that are watching this, when they're watching this on YouTube afterwards, actually email me, liam.garman@momentummedia.com.au. If there was anything that I said or that James said as we were going through it that you might need a little bit more of an explainer, are you going to be down in Avalon as well?
I won't myself. I'm about to have my first child.
Oh,
at exactly the same time, but thank you. But I'm more than happy to take questions on it. Absolutely.
And the team will be down there though.
Yeah,
because I know
and they'll
I'm
be
seeing...
playing battle chess as well.
Perfect. I think I'm actually seeing Noel for a nice lunch when I'm down there.
That's an easy win for you.
Yeah, that's an easy win. But the team will be down there if you did have any questions, or if you wanted to see a demonstration. I'm more than sure they'd love to take you through that. Now, we're going to start off.
Sure.
Now, I understand we go for a roll.
First thing we do, we roll for initiative. So let's both roll. You've rolled a 6. Would you like to take it yourself?
I would like to take the initiative.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay. So let's roll for your action points. So one of the things in this game is it's an action economy game. The more actions that you have, the more options that you have, the more you'll be able to layer forces, do the things that you need to do.
So I will be rolling. I roll a 2.
Yep.
So we halve it.
So using a D3, we halve that number, so it's a 1. So you generate 1 action point plus the 3 from your command and control that is already on the board. So you have a total of 4 actions this turn.
So the action points are generated by the pieces that you have on the board.
That's right.
The action points are generated by either your king, which is a command and control center, or sustainment capabilities. Now, I don't have any sustainment capabilities because the sustainment capability is a rook. My gut feeling is, so our pawns here, which represent recon capabilities, a soft team or a drone perhaps. Now, that can move 8 pieces into the middle, which is an option. I'm not going to do that because what I'm going to be doing is, how we mentioned before, that those action points are generated by what you've got on the board. I'm going to put down a sustainment piece.
Excellent. So
next time, I'll get another move.
Spot on. You've nailed it. And you've identified that's an action economy game.
Yeah.
So well
okay,
done.
that's actually what you start
Well
off
done.
with. Okay,
Yep,
cool.
exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
perfect. And I do want to remind everyone that when I lose this in about 10 minutes' time, I've never actually done this before. So, James,
No, perfect.
you're up.
So far, you've generated 4 action points for the turn. So I'll give you those 4 just represented in poker chips, and we've spent.
Oh,
and
of course.
one.
Of course. So I've got 3 from this, and 1 from the roll. So these chips represent moves. So I used 1 move, which is putting the rook out.
You've
so
deployed
I got
the
3
rook.
more.
Yep. So your options are you can move, attack, detect, or deploy with pieces.
See, I was being silly then. I just thought I had the 1 because
No,
I was
you've got 4.
anchoring on that. Okay, well,
You're
I'm
good
going
to
to put
go.
down another
There's another. Okay,
Another,
so that's 2.
sustainment piece.
2 actions, 2 left.
So what the sustainment piece will represent, like a transport or
Exactly.
any kind of logistics
So they
function?
primarily do 2 things. They give you more actions, and they'll help you move further. So every piece that starts near them can move an extra 2 steps. So yeah, it's some sort of logistics support.
Understand, because so on the rules here, the pieces can provide hit points. They've all got hit points.
Yep.
Some of them, which is the sustainment piece, logistics, the transport piece, and the command and control king, they generate action points. Now, they also generate aura. And this is where the pieces, when they're in close proximity to one another, they start to derive benefits by their proximity. So
the layering of effects, you'll be rewarded if you can do that.
Which I think everyone who's in the military would understand, that is you're going to be moving your pieces in tandem. So with the sustainment piece, what that would look like if I were to move is that friendly pieces that begin a move within the aura. So I get within these, the aura is what, 2
hexes? Yep.
2 hexes.
So any of your pieces at the moment, they're all in the aura.
So
they're all
I
within 2.
could potentially move this. Typically it's 8, but now it's 10.
Spot on.
Cool.
Yep, you
So
got
I'll do
it.
that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Awesome.
1 move done.
Great.
Got 1 move left. Now I'm going to pick a defensive capability. So I can protect forward operating capabilities in the next round.
Perfect.
And that's me.
It's a great defensive piece. So that was a really good first turn. The 2 ways that you can win the game are you either take out your opponent's C2, like in chess, if you can manage a checkmate, or you control the board. There are 5 zones on the board, and if you can manage to control more than your opponent across multiple turns, you win the game.
So I didn't even ask that.
There you go.
That actually should have been where I started, but I was so focused on
How do you win?
humiliating myself is how do you win?
Well, not necessarily, because wargaming is not about winning. Yeah, it's great to win, and you and I are both competitive. We both like to win. However, what is the benefit of wargaming is you're able to experiment with those ideas of change and design in a safe-to-fail environment. If you lose here, great, you've lost a game of battle chess. Better than losing on the field in 10 years or 20 years' time when a rifle doesn't work or something to that effect.
And I think that's super reasonable because I would say you're of the age, and I'm of the age where, say, playing computer games weren't necessary. It wasn't novel, right? It was something that everyone did, and I think we can all kind of cast our minds back. Did you ever play Age of Empires and stuff?
Still do.
Fiend. Yeah, I love it. But you get to a point where when you are so well oiled in a specific sequence of moves that you're like, oh, I know exactly. I'm going to move my villager here, collect that resource, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
And you are so well sequenced with your hotkeys that no one can stand in your way until someone just throws that little bit of a curveball in, and your typical sequence is completely thrown out. And this is a good way of testing that when your sequence gets thrown out.
So Age of Empires is a great example, and I sometimes use it when we talk about this. Board games don't typically have blinds in them. The only sort of board games that do is if you cast your mind back to something like Battleships, that's a double-blinded game. I can see what I can see, but I can't see what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so I've got to use a feature of that game is finding out where you are and what you're doing. So one of the components of this game is to insert a blind mechanism. So we'll actually have 2 boards that echo each other.
But we wouldn't be able to.
Exactly. Wouldn't be able to see until you can get through the fog of war.
Yep.
And we use detection to resemble that. So there are some parallels for gamers out there, absolutely. And Age of Empires is one I love to use.
No, I think it is a good way of doing it, because what we're doing, especially in this first move, is you have to very carefully balance up growing your activity points with seizing and holding ground.
Spot on.
And if you do one to the detriment of the other, you might have all these pieces, but then you can have that kind of quick move out.
Exactly.
If you're not balancing out. Okay, so it's your turn, I
So
think.
it's my turn.
Yep.
So my turn 1, I'll roll for action points. I've got 3 from my C2, and I've rolled a 4, which is another 2 action points because it's a D3. So I've got a net 5 action points. So I'm just going to grab those as poker chips. So with my 5 action points, I'm going to do something very similar. So hopefully that indicates you've had a good turn. I'm going to move this recon piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not going to run him too far. Second, I'm going to deploy one of my sustain pieces. Third, I'm actually going to move my strike piece up. Now, normally it can only move 1, but because it's in the aura of the sustain, it gets 3. 1, 2, 3. It gets +2 movement. I push him forward a little bit. Fourth, I'm going to deploy another sustain. And fifth, I'm going to deploy an offensive maneuver. Done. That's my whole turn. So the early turns are a lot about positioning, figuring out what your force might look like, and also identifying, well, what are the weaknesses in my opponent's force.
Okay.
So that's the end of round 1. We can roll for round 2.
Oh, so we both roll?
Both roll.
So this is the initiative again?
Initiative again. So I might have a chance to have 2 turns in a row.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. Okay. Cool. So I won the initiative.
So you've
we're
won
kind
again.
of in that.
Would you like to take it, or would you like to give it to me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll take it. Yep.
Action
3.
points.
So we halve it, 1.5, rounds it up to 2.
2.
So I have 1, 2 activity points, 3 from my command and control center, 2 from my sustainment pieces.
Spot on. You got 7.
So I've got a fair few moves here.
So in this version of the game, with this Orbat or this chess setup, the maximum you can get is 8. If you'd rolled a 5 or 6 there, you'd get 8 action points. You got 7. You've got a lot of options.
That's
now.
a lot of options. That is a lot of options. Okay, so one thing that I'm very conscious of is that your strike capability, you can, and this actually I might be running before I walk here. So you can strike another piece with your strike capability out to 8. However, before you strike them, they have to be detected, which is where,
That's right.
for example, your recon group might come into use here. They're not necessarily strong pieces. I think they have no strength.
They can't attack
Yet. Okay, good to know. But what they can do is they can kind of go very close and they can detect it. So
they're almost disposable.
Yep. Okay, understood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take your, I'm going to take a leaf from your book because now I actually don't have any strike capability
Yet.
yet.
You've got heaps of options.
So I'm going to take this, and my strike can move 3.
Normally 1, but +2. Yep, exactly.
1, 2, 3.
Perfect.
And that is because your sustainment capability allows them to take the extra
That's
2
exactly
steps.
right.
Makes a lot of sense. And that's 1. The other will be so you can go pretty far.
So what you're doing here, inadvertently, is actually figuring out what a range ring looks
That's
like.
exactly what
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
so
exactly.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can shoot out
Oh,
to here.
did I even miscount it? Oh no, what have I
But then
done?
the other thing to think about is your threat range is not just the range that you can shoot. You can move and shoot. Or you move and attack. So if I can move 1 and shoot 8, that's a threat range of 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yep.
I'm just shy at the moment, but if I couple that with a sustain giving me +2 movement, I'll actually be able to reach out and touch this queen. So it has a threat range of 11. So you really want to think, what are the different ways that they can layer their assets to have a more effective attack?
Okay. Now,
And if you wanted, I'd be more than happy to let you move that back 1 step or even further up totally up
as
to
in
you.
this one,
But that's the idea of wargaming. We're going to try different things.
we'd have to leave it out there.
See what works, see what doesn't.
Now, how far? So my sustainment has a movement range of 2.
Yep. And it will benefit from the other
From the other
sustainment.
one,
Yep. So it
okay.
can move 4.
See, now I've kind of
No, you're doing fine. This is great. 4. Perfect.
okay. So the defensive maneuver. So because it 1, 2, I can move this one 4 as well.
Spot on. You got it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yep. You can move through friendly pieces as long as you just don't end on the same hex.
4 more. And the bishop. Okay, so the bishop, the strength of the bishop is it can actually move quite far. It can detect a little bit further. And there is a little bit of attack to it. So I'm going to take a bishop.
Yeah. So, and then it also gets a free maneuver when it attacks. If it attacks, it can make a free move afterwards. 0 action point move.
Cool. Still 3 more to go.
Still 3 to go. You got
Still
heaps
3
of
to
options.
go, which is quite good.
Yep. You might want to start spreading out your force. You might want to bring on more recon. You might want to deploy more units. It's a lot of posturing in the first couple of turns.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
Move that recon. That's 1. Beauty. Now he can only move 2.
Oh,
because he doesn't have the benefit of another.
1, 2.
Yeah, unfortunately they don't give it their own aura to themselves.
Yeah, right. No, that was
but the rest
stupid of me
it is-
because I thought it was 4, but that's okay.
Well, sometimes they want to work in tandem. Sometimes they want to be working like this, sort of almost leapfrogging each other.
Okay.
Depends how you.
Sometimes. And let's bad
Perfect.
boy.
Done.
7
Great
out.
turn. So yeah, the first 2 or 3 turns is a lot of posturing, and then we start to see strategies emerge. So for my turn 2, I'm going to have 3 for my king, 1 more for each sustain. So that's 5 plus 1 more is 6. So there's a little bit of randomness in there. So
As
6.
is war.
Exactly. So 6 action points. Look, I don't like the cut of that defensive maneuvers jib, so I'm going to try and see if I can get him. So my strike can shoot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'll need to move up to be able to get him.
You did say that.
So let's see if I can complete a kill chain here. And I'm just going to plan out my turn a little bit because I don't want to get, to the end of my movement and figure out I don't have enough action points to make a strike. So let's move, detect, move, strike, move. Okay, great. Let's try this. Let's see how this goes. I'm going to spend my first action point to move this recon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just to here. Secondly, I'm going to attempt to detect this knight. So I look at my detect value, it's a high.
Mm-hmm.
I look at your defense value, it's a high. Look at my table, high against high. I'm looking for a 4+ on the dice. Gonna roll. Hey, we got it. So I'm gonna put that under him. Now that just shows that I've got targeting data on him. He's eligible to be struck. If I'd failed that roll, I probably would have pivoted what I'm doing this turn, maybe go for a different strategy. But now that I've detected him, I'll see if I can pull this off. I'm going to move my queen. I'm actually going to move my c2 up. Normally he can move 3. So I'm just going to move 1, 2, 3. I could move 5, but I don't want to be 2 out there. Yeah, I don't want to get too close to your strike because I don't want to instantly lose the game. Now, the reason I've moved him there is I'm now going to strike. I'm going to strike with my my strike unit against your defensive maneuver. I've got a high attack value against your high defense. Normally, that would be a 4+, but the King's Aura gives +1 to die rolls with allies within the aura.
So you only need.
So now I only need a 3. So this will be gold if I rolled the 3. So let's strike. Here we go.
Oh, see, that's no man.
So, so knight goes over to the graveyard.
Yeah.
And then that one falls off.
Yep. Okay.
So I got one thing left to do this turn. Now that the issue here is that I'm still quite bunched up over here. So I'm actually just going to project this. No, I'm going to deploy this offensive maneuver here for my last. And that's that. That's the end of the round.
Okay.
So at the end of the round, we just see if anyone scored points. I'm controlling here and you're controlling there.
So we have one.
No one's controlling any of these because the recon aren't available, so we're still square.
Yep. Oh, and then we've got to roll for the
Now we roll
initiative
for-
again.
yeah.
No, all this. Oh, have you had my assault?
Your choice again.
Oh,
Your
thank
choice
goodness. Yeah, I'm definitely. Let's say the initiative is seized. Okay, come on. 6. So I get 3.
You got it. You got the full
3.
stack.
I'll do get the full circle, so that's another 3. And then 2.
Yep,
Three,
that's
three,
it.
two.
So should have 8.
Cool.
Beauty.
Done. Okay, good.
So is it time for retribution?
Just let me think. Just
If I was
don't say anything.
all right, someone's a bit competitive. That's good.
Yeah. Just fuel tray. Sorry, our production team's telling me I'm taking too long. That it's been cool being.
It must make
particular.
fascinating radio.
Yeah,
Listening to someone think.
Shush! Okay. You know what? Okay, good. You're right. I've got to be a bit of an entertainer. Okay, so
It's hard to plan and entertain.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Perfect.
There you go. So,
Yep.
1, 2. So I'm going to try and detect you.
Okay.
Now I've got, according to this, my detect value is high and your defense value is high. Oh no, your defense value is low.
Oh, yeah. So it's an exquisite ammunition. It's precious.
Okay,
I've left it exposed.
Okay. Now, so I feel like you did that intentionally for the podcast. See, now I'm not getting my endorphin rush from potentially.
Ah,
striking
no, I
this.
definitely did that.
Yeah,
on purpose.
yeah. Okay, so high versus low. So I need a 4+.
No, high versus low. You only need a 2. Other way around.
So I'm.
Other way around.
Okay. You sure?
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, high versus. Okay,
Yep.
cool. Gotcha,
High versus
gotcha,
low.
gotcha.
Only need a 2 up here to fail.
Yep.
To succeed.
Yep. Okay, so I need over 2.
Here comes that 1. Oh, it's a 6.
I mean, you're
So,
being nice to me.
He's detected.
Okay, so he's detected. Now.
So that's the risk I ran. I exposed my long range strike, and now
Yeah.
I might pay the price.
Okay, and now what I'm going to do is because I'm a little bit
So
out.
2 actions down so far.
So yep. So I've got to go 2.
Yep, perfect. Moving
And
to
then,
detect.
so what I'm doing is I'm actually going to move a little bit closer
Mhm.
using my the sustainment capability.
Perfect.
So so I could typically move at 1, but now I can actually move at 3.
Spot on.
2.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm not going to go any further.
Love it.
Okay, another one down.
Mhm.
I'm going to roll to strike
Strike.
your strike.
Big roll here.
Okay, so it's high on
High on low.
low. So I need another 2.
Only need a 2.
I only need 2. Okay, come on.
Oh,
yeah, there we
gets it on the
go.
2.
Okay, no, that was my third one. Okay, good. Was that my third one?
That was your 4th.
My
Move
4th?
detect, move
Boom.
strike.
Move detect, move strike. That's why you've got the maths postgrad. Now, see, now I'm getting a little. Maybe I'm getting a little bit too. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that's within 2. So I'm going to move a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to protect these people out here.
Love it.
Because the knight is a protective mechanism. What would a knight represent?
You could think of it as like an Abrams or a tank or something
You
that's
did say that.
providing sort of defensive cover, maybe to units nearby.
Yep, perfect. And what I'm going to do is I'm also going to move my sustainment 1, 2 up to be. Oh, that's those 2 now done. So 1, 2. Got 2 left, and I'm probably going to deploy another one of these. Another one out. Now I'm kind of, I'm a little bit. Now I'm just making decisions on the fly and offensive maneuver. Actually, so I can move it 4. What's the benefit of the bishop?
After it strikes, it can make a free move. So it's quite good at striking, even though it's moderate
So
range.
hence the analogy for the joint strike vibe.
Yeah, it
Quick
zips in,
out.
does the job, gets out.
Okay. So what I don't even know where I would.
Hard to pin down.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, would there be any units that you would in this game typically deploy that with, or is it a solo flyer?
Well, a lot of the units will need one of the recon to help detect. Every other unit, other than recon, not so good at detecting.
Yeah.
So generally, they'll go in a partnership, but the recon are so fast and agile. The issue is if you run out of recon, then you're relying on everyone else to be your eyes, which is not effective.
Not where
at
you
all.
want to be.
Your satellites are out, your drones are out, all these issues. Yeah,
You've got to get real up close and personal.
exactly.
So look, I might. In that sense, given that is like a kind of quick strike capability, I actually might just deploy it by itself,
Sounds
which
good.
we'll see whether it works or
fine.
not. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Perfect.
And that's me done.
Done. So I'm quite exposed here. I've lost my long range strike, which means my control of the board is diminishing. So I'm gonna pivot a little bit, just letting you inside my my mind as to what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna try and make a bit more of a scenario play here. So action points, I've got 3, 4, 5 plus another 1. That's good. 6. One day I'll roll more. All right, 6 action points. Let's see how this goes. First thing I'm going to attempt to use my recon here to detect your recon. It's a high against a moderate, so I'm looking for a 3. Got it.
Easy.
So
Consider yourself detected.
consider him detected. Next, now, I would think about moving my C2 up, but I don't want to expose it to your long range strike, so I'm almost forced to totally reconsider that. So I'm going to just see how this works. I'm going to use my offensive maneuver. I'm going to move. Now, normally could move 4, but because of the sustain, can move 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I could go 5, 6, but I'm not. I'm just going to sit there. Then I'm going to attempt to strike with my offensive maneuver. His attack value is a high, and your defense is a moderate, so I need to roll a 3. Now, the good news is, even though I failed, I can still make a free move after he attacks.
You can move out.
So I'm actually going to go forwards.
Ooh,
Instead of running
okay.
to safety, I'm going to go the opposite. 1, 2, 3.
Yep, okay. So now you're outside of my detection range.
I'm still in your detection range, but targeting data will fall off every 24 hours or so.
So that
If you think of
represents
the
a
turn as 24 hours. So after this turn, that'll fall off, and you have to redetect anything.
Yep.
So even though I've got it now, don't have it for next turn.
Got you.
However, I am going to try and make the most of it while I've got it.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. I'm going to move this offensive maneuver. Detect, move, attack. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then I'm going to strike again with the other one, looking for that 3. Got it this
and that
time.
was convincing. Yep.
Got him. There we go. And then I'll do my free move. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, dear.
3, 4. And then 1 left. I think I'll just deploy this to protect my king from being shot. That's that. That's the end of the round. So this time the scoring's a little different. You score your corner, but I score here.
So you only need the 1 hexagon in the...
One piece in the hex. Yeah, exactly. So at least 1. So even if I had this here as well, it would just count as 1 point.
Yep, okay.
So
Gotcha. And then we roll for initiative.
1 scenario point. If I can do that a couple more times, I might be able to win that way. All right, initiative. Big roll here.
Oh, no.
I've rolled a 1. One day.
So for people that are watching it or listening, if you're listening, I don't know. I rolled a 2 and James here rolled a 1.
As usual.
Which is
Love
exactly
it.
what we wanted.
We love to complain about dice. So how many action points?
So I've got 1 because 2 halved 1. Plus...
No. That was the roll for initiative.
Oh,
now we roll
of
for
course.
action points.
Yep. Sorry, I'm slow. 1.
Same
anyway,
result.
Roll 2. So 1 plus 3 for the C2 and the 2 for the
Sustains.
Sustains.
You got
so
it.
I've got 5. No, I've got 6.
Actions.
6 actions. So I'm just, you know what? Just for the benefit, I'm going to be maybe a little bit less thinky and more doey.
Yeah. So
Okay,
that's actually
yeah.
wargaming.
Yeah.
Best red against best blue. You tell me what your plan is, and I'll tell you what mine is. We'll try and optimize so that we can have a really effective game rather than any sort of gotcha moments.
Yep. Okay. Cool. So what I'm going to do, so our recon can move up to 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to work backwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to be there.
Yep.
It's going to be
Perfect.
about 4.
So
Right.
that's excellent.
Now
That's
I'm going
one
to roll
action.
for a detection. I'm going to hazard a guess that this is going to be high for me.
Yep. So your detect is a high. It's excellent. And my defense is a
Your defense is a moderate.
spot on.
So I've got to be high versus moderate. So I've got to be 3 plus.
You got it.
Cool. 2.
Not today.
Bum. Okay. So
That's
was
2 so far. Move and detect.
Now I'm going to have another go.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That
Perfect.
was 1.
Yep.
Now
You
I'm
got
going
it.
to try for another detect.
All right.
Okay, so it's going to be 3 plus.
Big roll.
6.
Got it.
Okay, detected. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're in range of my strike. That was move, detect. So I've got to actually put 1 more.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go for a strike on
Perfect.
your strike capability, or on your offensive capability. So that's high versus moderate, which is another 3.
Perfect. Dodge.
Boom. Did not work. Down.
And one left. So unfortunately, you've invested a lot of resources into making this happen. And admittedly, you didn't roll great. And this is where, if we were using this as an experimentation tool and we said, actually, let's see what happens when the bishop dies, we just overruled that. But because I really want to win this, we won't.
Well, I've also got my secret strike capability left.
You do, but you've only got one action point left.
Oh, I do. Nah, man. Oh, terrible.
Hey.
Okay. And I can't bake this for later, can I?
No.
That's
No, you got to use it now.
Well, I think one of my big challenges is now maybe a little bit built in.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to try and do is I might actually try and so you're actually worryingly close to getting all three. Like really, you can jump out.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to get to this one, but the other two for sure.
Yep. So I'm actually going to try and push out a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Perfect.
And then that way, at least I can get out in the future. But good lesson, because I think I just used 4 or 5 of them on 2 failed attacks.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the opportunity cost of the game for sure.
Cool.
My turn 4. Action points. I get the 1 again. So 6 total. 3 for the command, 2 for each, 1 for each sustain, which is 2, and 1 more from the roll. Okay, so 6 action points. Now, what is the biggest threat? I'm going to try and analyze the board. I think any opportunity to take out your C2 is a good one. So not the C2, sorry, your strike. So I'm going to try and do that. So we're going to reserve 1 for him to get in there. I'll just do this now because I think this is my main path to victory. I'm going to spend 1 to move this guy. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to spend move, detect, move, strike. Yep. I'm going to spend 1 to move my recon unit to there. I'm going to try and detect your strike. I'm a high against your low, which is normally a 2+. However, your defensive maneuver grants +1 defense to other pieces within its aura.
The defensive maneuver being the knight.
The knight, yep, exactly. So now it's 1 harder for me. So instead of needing a 2, I need a 3. Got him. So he's successfully detected. Put that there. I'm going to move my offensive maneuver. 4. I'm going to strike with him. He's a high against your low, which is a 2+, but the defensive maneuver helps him out a bit, so it's now 3+. Got him. Got him.
It's got bloody 6s on that dice. Oh, no, now I'm strikeless.
So strike's gone from both sides.
And you can also withdraw your...
Now he gets a free move, which is why I was going to do it anyway. 1, 2, but 1, 2, 3, I'll just move to there. Now the reason... No, we'll go another step. 4. Now the reason I did it in that order is if I'd failed that detect, I don't want to move him up to attack, and then he has no eligible attack targets. He's stuck there, and I can't control the zone.
Yeah.
Finally, 5, I'm going to... 1, 2, 3, 4. Just bring up my knight a little bit.
So now you're protected.
Provide some reinforcement.
Yeah.
The bishop isn't, but everyone else, the C2 is.
Yeah, okay.
So that'll take us to the end of the round.
Okay. Roll
Now
for initiative.
this visibility falls off every turn.
That's gone.
No more visibility of him. But we'll score points. You score your zone. I score mine, and I score 2 more purples. So I actually get a net 2 points here. 1, he's controlling this zone.
Yeah.
He's controlling this zone. So I'll get 2. I'm up by 3. If I can do that again, if I can get up by 5 at some point, I'll win.
So it's not by round.
No, it's by...
it's not
5 points.
5 points.
End of every round, you score.
So I actually really need to dislodge you because I was thinking as long as I can deprive... That's why I started moving my force up here.
Exactly.
'Cause I'm like, as long as I can deprive you of that corner, you can't win.
No.
But you actually can.
Yeah. I've just got to get a net 5 points up.
Got you. Okay, I'm in a
All
bad
right.
spot here. Yeah, I'm not in a good spot.
I think
Okay,
you're
I need
okay.
this initiative.
Yeah,
I need this initiative. 2, 5.
5. All right.
Damn, lost it.
I think... Yep, I'll take the initiative. So let's see if I can... let's see what we get. 5 plus 3 is 8. That's what we wanted.
Oh, see now,
8 when
it's not looking good for old Garman.
8 when it matters. So yes, there's a way that we can potentially do this.
So you're going to try and end it this round?
Well, I'm going to try and put you in a tough spot. I'm going to try and give you a wargaming dilemma.
Yeah, okay, a wargaming dilemma.
Which is, if you can't win this way, then hopefully I'll be able to eke out a scenario win.
Yeah.
So let me just think about this for a second. I'm going to move, and I'm going to move. Then I'm going to move, detect, move, attack. Yep, that should be more than enough. Okay, let's see how this goes. First thing, I'm going to move this recon. He can normally move 8, but he can move 10 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That'll do. 9 to there. Second, he's going to try and detect this pawn here. Got him. 2. Next, we're going to move this recon here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to strike that pawn that we just detected. Got him. See you later.
I feel like you got weighted dice there.
They're just rolling
There's a
whatever
lot
I
of
need them to.
sixes. That's
They're just rolling whatever I need. It's great. I actually borrowed your dice, so that's really nice.
there we. Oh, see.
So then we'll do our free maneuver. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to
Oh,
him.
see. Now you're going to get 2 this round.
5. We're going to move this guy. Normally he can move 2, but he's near his friend, so we can move 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we'll move this knight. Normally he can move 2, but now he's got a new friend next to him. 1, 2, 3. Normally 2, but he can move 4. 2 moves left. I think my king's okay.
Was that not a chip? You got 2 left. Seems like you got a lot of moves.
I've definitely got 8 this round. It's pretty good.
What?
I've spent 6 so far.
Shocking stuff.
Last 2 moves. I'm just going to run.
But I've already lost.
Deploy. No, not yet. We score at the end of the round. So
Yeah,
you
I
gotta
know.
dislodge
But
me.
there's
So deploy him, and then final move, I'll move him 1, 2, 3, 4.
okay.
There.
So this
Done.
is
Show me how it's done, Liam.
okay. So why I think I've lost is because I don't have a capability. I don't have enough pieces here to dislodge you from 2.
I think it's good. Well, if you can dislodge me from 2 or even contest, all you have to do is move them into the zone.
Okay. So
And then it's contested.
and then you don't get the points for that.
No one does. Yeah, as long as it's contested. So simply by moving into this zone or moving into this zone, you'll at least slow it down. So there's still a couple of paths to victory. You can always try and take him out. He's got 3 health. A couple of different options. This one's starting to look a little bit far away.
Iffy. Yeah, that's iffy.
So first thing do before you plan, see how many action points you've got.
Yeah.
Full stack of 8.
Okay, 8. Can I, if I put one of these down, can I move it immediately?
Absolutely. Yep.
Play.
Mm-hmm.
1.
Perfect.
Move. Him.
So just a reminder, recon, they can't contest. They're the only pieces that can't contest zones.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
so if that changes your planning, go for it. Feel free to.
I'm feeling dangerous, James.
We're
going to go there.
He's getting stuck in.
So that's
2.
move, and I'm going to try and detect your knight.
Yep.
So that's a defensive as well.
Yeah,
so it's
he's
gonna
a
be
defensive,
high
so
on
he's a
high.
high. He's pretty good.
High on high is 4+,
Spot on.
and there's no aura benefits for that one. No, so it's
Not at the moment.
so 4+.
Plus.
6.
Got
so
him.
It's detected.
Detected.
So we're gonna, that was detection.
Yep.
Now I'm going to move him there.
Sure. You
Move.
come one step further because your range, his
thought it was
attack
4.
range is only 2, but you've got the range to get there.
Okay, cool.
You're
I
all
thought it
good.
was 4. Okay, cool. And then we're going to attack him, which will be 4 again. Plus 4
Yeah,
again.
absolutely. So high on high is 4 up. Big roll.
Oh,
And I'm the one with the
thank
weight.
goodness. Okay.
Very good.
That was
Now you can do your free move.
move detect.
Deploy,
No,
move, detect, move, attack. 5 down.
5. Yep.
Yep. And you can have a free move with him.
Cool. And then what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to leave him there.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is, so you have to be within.
Yeah, you've got you
So
can
I've got 6, so I can move 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm actually within
7,
2.
8. Yep.
Provided I go.
However, you don't want to do that because you'll need to move, detect, move, attack. That's 4 action points, and I think you got 3 left.
So what I'm going to do is actually. I can't contest with that.
The
Damn, I'm down 1.
there is one way to do it, which is you could move him up to here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then attempt to detect with that unit itself, even though it's not as good, and then attack. Move, detect,
so
attack.
You can do all 3.
You can do all 3. You can give it a go.
Okay, let's do it, all 3. So what we're doing is we're moving to there.
Spot on. Yep.
And then I'm rolling to detect.
Yep.
Which I'll need a guess a 4+.
Now this is his detection is not as good. They're not as good. So it's a moderate. However, you're against a moderate. Yep. So 4 up.
Okay, cool. Where is mine? Okay, thank you. 4 up. Come on.
Big roll.
2 are all gone. Well, that means
No
I
bueno.
didn't put my attack on.
No detection. Therefore, no attack. So you got 1 action left.
Is it possible? Can they only move the second time after an attack?
After an attack, yeah. And we didn't get to attack. So
Man.
yeah,
I'm done. It's over.
oh, not. It's close. It's close. I'll get up to 4.
2, 4. No. Okay. Well, should we just
1 left. 1.
1? Oh man, there's actually I feel like it's over.
It's close. We had 2 4+s in a row there, so we can say that you detected him there if you want to experiment with it.
This game actually has to end at some point.
It does have to end.
It does have to end at some point. So I'm going to say, for argument's sake, what is not a good move right now?
Maybe just bring up another piece. A bad move would be to move him out.
Okay,
he can't move.
Oh, we can't move.
Oh, he can't move. But
let's for argument's sake, what if I moved him out of the protection area?
Sure.
But I think he's going to win anyway. So.
Well, end of the round, you'd score this zone because I don't have anything there, and your own zone. But I'd score 1, 2, 3, so I get a net point, 3-2. So I'm up by 4. Then we'd play another round, and we can just call it there if you want.
I thought it was first to 5.
No, 4. It is first to 5, and I'm up by 4 at the moment.
So you have to be up by 5.
Yeah.
Oh, so
that's
the
right.
game's still going.
Yeah. It's still on.
What
Yeah.
the hell?
Yeah,
Okay. I see. I interpreted it as if the second you're 5, you hit 5 chips, it's over. Well, then I definitely don't want to make that move.
No, so just think of this as a differential.
Yeah. Okay. Then
So-
I'm definitely playing something else then for my last one.
Perfect. Done.
Okay.
Okay. I thought you were resigning. Okay,
Yeah. Our
excellent.
production team is giving me the eyeballs that I need to hurry up and lose this
No
game.
dramas.
All right.
So the score might be like 10-6. I haven't been keeping track, but it's a differential of 4 points.
Okay, well, look, let's assume.
Well, let's call it there.
Let's assume that I've lost this game. So, in this sense, how do you view that this game simulates that real world decision making? What tools are you trying to equip players with?
So what we're really trying to pull out is whatever is the need of our clients. So in this case, it's an educational tool to look at the kill chain in isolation, but also look at the layering of effects, strategic conundrums and dilemmas. But this is just the first step as well. So like we spoke about, there's a double blind system where we'll have facilitators running multiple boards. There's a custom Orbat design. So I'll give you a $40 budget. And if you flip over the sheet in front of you, there's a cost associated with each force structure piece. So we might play a $40 game.
Yep.
And I might take multiple recon or more strike or something different. There's a bunch of different variations as well to help explore what are the ways that we can design our force. How does it respond to stress? How does it operate in different environments? And how does that impact our concept of operations or employment? So a really abstract way to look at a whole bunch of sort of force design queries in a really tangible product where this was, I'd imagine for you, this was like a sticky experience. You'll remember, I remember I just needed a 3+ and I rolled a 2, and if I'd done this or if I'd done that, I would have been able to succeed. So playing a game like this will stick with you a lot more than reading a book about force design.
Yep, absolutely. I think looking at it from your perspective, having come from not necessarily a defense background, but a maths postgrad, you really got a very good brain. How has this game shaped your perceptions of strategy and tactics? How has this taught you? What lessons have you
Yeah, we just ran an educational course on this, and on the first day, one of the students asked, "How will this teach me about wargaming and design?" And this was the first step in terms of introducing some students towards what are the principles of wargaming and how do we experiment with those ideas of change and design in a safe way. But then it translated into the next step being, okay, we used a tool called Operational Wargame System where we looked at military problems with military units. And they used a lot of similar elements or mechanics from the game, whether it's detection and strike, whether it's the abstraction of distances into hexes. A hex in this might represent 100 nautical miles.
Because you have to literally almost plot it out with your fingers. The distance is obscured.
Absolutely. So in the sort of more military game, students would go, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes, that's 800 nautical miles. Okay, is my weapon able to cover that distance, and would it be intercepted by some opposing aircraft or something like that?
What future iterations of this game do you think there will be? Because from my perspective, and I know you've already touched on it, it is so ultimately adaptable. This is so adaptable. From the team at Atturra, where do you think you're going to take it next?
Yeah, look, I think building war games is a privilege, but you can take inspiration from all sorts of games that exist. And I think some of the best artists or gamers borrow from their peers and colleagues around them. So fortunately for me, that means I get to play a variety of different games and steal mechanics and see how they could be implemented into other types of games. So what does that mean for this game? I've got on the ground next to me some different environmental games. So there's one where it's the maritime map, and some units gain a maritime capability. There's a mountain map where mountains essentially will block line of sight, except for certain platforms that can strike over mountains, or maybe aren't impeded by the mountains. Same with forest terrain. So understanding different terrains and advantages that they give you. There's also the custom form Orbat design, the double blind. There's also objectives and scenarios that are both private information and public information that change the way that you play. It's a really malleable tool.
Yeah, I know you mentioned before you can adapt it all the way to, say, cybersecurity. And I mean, if we were to say that this is now a game about cybersecurity, right? You take your recon piece, or your recon piece could be an initial exploration for 0 days. Okay, cool. We now know the 0 day in the area, and then your strike piece could be okay. That's the deployment of malware out, like
absolutely
whatever capability this
exactly.
is out. So it does it does seem as very adaptable. Mate, I think that is probably all we have time for today. I know we've unpacked so much. Now the team at Atturra, they're going to be Avalon. You're not first kid. Congratulations, first child. But anyone that wants to have a role.
Yeah, please turn up.
Yep.
Some of my colleagues are well versed in battle chess and have also been teaching it as one of the educational tools that we have up our sleeve.
Yeah.
So please come and give them a game. And I think if you can beat them, there's some prizes on the line.
Oh.
But also just come and have a chat with our guys
Do you know the prizes?
I do, and one of them.
Can you spoil it?
Yeah, it's 4 words, 4 letters. Starts with LE and ends in GO. Which is why I'm devastated I'm not there, honestly. Yep. But no, there are some prizes online, a couple of gift vouchers, I think. So, but no, come and give them a game.
How competitive are your Friday night?
Way too competitive.
Has it ever descended into a bit of
absolutely.
I can imagine. Yeah.
We don't mind a game of Werewolf every now and then if you've ever played, or Secret Hitler, if that rings any bells.
Secret Hitler?
Fantastic. So social deception game, weaponizing your friendships to conduct psyops.
Sounds like office politics.
It's great.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic.
But it's gamified.
Yeah, that's good. Now I'm going to be coming down so I can win that. If you could leave it. Example here for me to train on. Mate, that is all we have time for today. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
Thanks, Liam. Appreciate it.
That was James Moorhouse, Director of Wargaming at Atturra. This will be coming out ahead of Avalon. So if you do want to have a go, if you want to speak to the team at Atturra about what they've got in store for the future of wargaming for defence, go up to their stall. They'd love to have a chat. But that is all we have time for today on the Defence Connect podcast, and we'll be back at the same time next week. But until then, bye-bye.